Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, and in today's video, I will be breaking down the Commanders' wide receiver room. I'll be going player by player. I'll talk about who I think is safe right now and who I think has a chance to get cut or who's on the bubble. I'll be doing this with every single position group besides quarterback because I don't really think there's a point of, talking about the quarterback position. I feel like we know who's going to make the roster. I guess QB3 is up for grabs between Johnson and Hartman, so we'll see about that. But I will be doing this breakdown for every single position group on this roster. Before we get into today's video, make sure y'all leave a like down below, subscribe if you're not already subbed up, and turn on notifications. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video. Alright, so right now we have a total of 12 receivers on the roster. We got Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown, Luke McAffrey, Jalen Lane, Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, Chris Moore, Mike Strachan, Jakori Brooks, Jacoby Jones, and Lawrence Cager. So 12 receivers on the roster, and I believe only 6 will make the roster. Now, maybe we keep 7, but last year we kept 6. I think the year before we also kept 6, maybe 5, but usually we keep about 6 receivers. So I doubt that we'll keep any more receivers, an extra guy, or 5 receivers, right? I think the number will be 6. So let's go over guys that are locks to make the roster, in my opinion. Starting with Terry, he's a lock, obviously. I know some fans are worried about him not getting a contract. He will get a contract extension, don't worry. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and training camp starts in about 30 days from now, so he should get his contract before then. Deadlines do spur action, so I would be shocked if Terry did not have his contract before the start of training camp, or at the start of training camp, literally. So he will have his contract by training camp, basically. Deebo Samuel, obviously, he's a lock to make the roster. Noah Brown, right now, he got hurt, as you guys know, during mandatory minicamp, and he had an event, pretty sure last Friday, and he looked pretty fine. Some fans were at his event, and they said on Twitter that he looked fine, which is really good to hear, because, if Noah Brown's hurt, if he isn't able to go for a long period of time during the season, then that does hurt our receiver depth, right? And Noah Brown as a third option at receiver is really, really good to me. So it would suck to see him out for a long period of time, but per the reports we've gotten from fans that were at his event last Friday, John Keim spoke about the situation last Friday. He said that he does not think the injury is as bad as it seems. So it looks like Noah Brown, he should be fine, or maybe the injury just isn't as bad as, it seemed, right? So hopefully he'll be good for training camp. And even if he's out for a little bit during training camp, like the early parts of training camp, hopefully he'll be back by like mid-training camp, right? Or at some point during training camp. So Luke McAffrey, he's a lock to make the roster, in my opinion. I know some fans have put Luke out there as a potential surprise cut. I don't see it. Like, they knew when they drafted Luke that he had only been playing receiver for 2 years, really, right? Last year was his 3rd year, so he's going into his 4th year playing receiver for real. So he was raw coming out of college. He was raw coming out of Rice, so it would take him a little bit of time to develop, and I don't think they have given up on Luke so easily, right? So I think he's safe, and we've heard good things about Luke thus far during the offseason, during spring practices, during OTA's mandatory minicamp. We heard good things about Luke, so hopefully Luke does take a big step this year, and if he does, that would help us a lot for sure in the receiver room. And then Jalen Lane, he's obviously safe. They just drafted him. He will have a big role on this team this season as our starting punt returner, and they'll probably have packages for him to get in on the field on offense. So 5 receivers that I feel like are safe. Again, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown, as long as he's fully healthy, Luke McAffrey, and Jalen Lane. Now that 6th receiver spot, I believe that's the spot that is up for grabs right now. And in my opinion, there are 3 guys in contention for that spot. Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, and Jakori Brooks. Chris Moore, Mike Strahan, Jacoby Jones, and Lawrence Cager. Those guys may impress a little bit, but realistically, I doubt they make the roster. Chris Moore has actually impressed a lot during spring practices, has made a couple of nice grabs from Sam Hartman and Marcus Mariota. So I feel like if he continues to perform and impress during training camp and preseason, I feel like he will for sure be back on this team, on the practice squad. Maybe he has a slight chance of being the sixth receiver, but honestly, I doubt it. I feel like Jakori Brooks, KJ Osborne, and Michael Gallup all have higher chances of making the roster over Chris Moore. And then Jacoby Jones, undrafted free agent receiver out of UCF. Feel like he's more of a practice squad guy. Same with Mike Strahan and Lawrence Cager. Going back to the sixth receiver spot, though, like I said, I think it's between Gallup, Osborne, and Jakori Brooks. Let's talk about each guy. Michael Gallup, he knows Dan Quinn. He did not play this past season because he retired, but he unretired this offseason, and we decided to sign him, give him a chance on a one-year deal. And it's not a guarantee he makes the roster. Obviously, it's not a guarantee that any of these three guys I'm about to talk about, including Gallup, will make the roster, right? Gallup actually was dealing with a hamstring injury on the last day of Phase 3 of OTAs, which then continued on through mandatory minicamp, so he didn't participate in mandatory minicamp at all. Now, he will probably be good to go by training camp, but, still, you don't want to see those injuries, right? Especially for a guy who, may not even make the roster. It's not a guarantee for Michael Gallup to make the roster, so he needs all the reps he can get. So him being injured is not great for him, his chances to make the roster, right? KJ Osborne, he was here last year. We signed him, want to say, after Noah Brown got hurt, so during our bye week, and he was released by the Patriots or waived by the Patriots. We decided to claim him, and I'm not going to lie, I thought KJ Osborne would do a little something with us last season, down the road, help a little bit. He didn't help at all, and I guess I shouldn't have assumed that he would, because it does take a minute for a guy to get acclimated, to the team, especially a receiver to get acclimated to the offense. They're coming here so late. We already got all of our starters, everything established, right? So it's just tough for a guy like Osborne to get acclimated with everything when you're coming here so late, right? So they decided to resign him. Not gonna lie, did not think they'd do it, but they did. So they're giving him another chance. We'll see what he does with that opportunity. Osborne does offer some speed, and also he was pretty good with the Vikings 2 or 3 years ago, so he offers some good receiver abilities, and maybe if he impresses enough during preseason and training camp, he finds his way on to the 53-man roster, but we shall see. And then you have Jakori Brooks, undrafted free agent receiver out of Louisville. Man, I remember Jakori Brooks from Alabama days. He was a 5-star recruit coming out, and he had the size. Well, he has the size. He's 6'2", 184 pounds, so has a slimmer build, but I thought he was going to be a star at Alabama because y'all know Alabama always produces amazing receivers, but he just didn't work out there, so he transferred to Louisville, and he was really good for Louisville this past season. He had 1,013 yards for 9 touchdowns. I think the reason he fell out of the draft is because he ran a 4.68 at his pro day or at the 40-yard dash, or at the combine, which isn't great, right? Like a 4.68, that's not really good. But what Jakori Brooks does have, which we don't have a ton of on this team, is size. Although he has like a slimmer build, he's still pretty tall at 6'2", 184 pounds, and he can make contested catches, and he's pretty good after the catch as well. Although he's not the fastest, he's pretty good after the catch. He picks up extra yards after the catch, which you love to see, right? So I think Jakori Brooks, along with Gallup and Osborne, have the best chances to get that last receiver spot, because I think we're going to keep 6 receivers. Maybe we keep 7, like I said in the beginning, but I do think we're going to keep only 6, right? So Jakori Brooks, if he impresses during training camp and preseason, he definitely has a shot to make this roster. But Who do I think will make the roster at the receiver position? Right now, here are my predictions for the 6 guys that I think will be on the 53-man roster at the receiver position. Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, Deebo Samuel, Luke McAffrey, Jalen Lane, and KJ Osborne. A lot of fans think that Gallup will make the roster over Osborne. I think Osborne is going to make it over Gallup because, number one, Gallup, man, that hamstring injury, I don't want to overreact to it, but injuries aren't great for him. He needs all the reps he can get, right? And, I mean, how will he look after being 1 year retired? Maybe he'll look better, right? With his body not going through, a lot of physical punishment on the football field, right? So maybe he'll look fresher, but I think KJ Osborne, they brought him back for a reason. They feel like, he got here late last season. They want to see what he can do. And Osborne does offer returner ability. So, say, knock on wood, but Jalen Lane goes down, right? Hopefully it don't happen. But, say he goes down. We need a guy back there. KJ Osborne could be that for us. And Osborne was good for the Vikings 2 or 3 years ago as their receiver 3. So it's not like KJ Osborne is a bad player or anything like that. He can actually ball. He can play football, right? He's a good receiver in this league. He's proven that. He just has to get back to those ways, right? And I feel like if he shows that during training camp and in the preseason, he will make the roster as the 6th receiver. I think Jakori Brooks will impress a little bit, but I don't think it'll be enough to make the roster as the 6th receiver. Maybe it is, but only time will tell. And I'm super excited for training camp and the preseason to see which guys step up at the receiver position to try and make their way onto the 53-man roster. So that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you aren't already subbed up to the channel. And turn on notifications. Comment down below which 6 receivers or 7 receivers or how many receivers you think will make the roster. And who do you think will make the roster at the receiver position. And other than that, it's been King Sean and I'm out. Peace.